It's time for change to move into the real work of the universe. And it's time to understand that we use the matter state to reach the level of understanding of the soul of the man. Now you understand maybe why the Creator has sent his messengers in the name of whatever you have had. Is that they bring the ears, that it can be used when the time of the Messiah comes. They can teach the soul and the message, not to oppose. But by them understanding through those who have become Messiahs, to give from their souls to these to elevate, the job is made easy. The school is there and the students are devotedly there. Then there won't be any fight between what they call the Muslims and the Christians. The lamb and the lion will eat and sleep in the same nest. The Christians and the Muslims will sleep and pray in the mosque and in the same church in the name of their souls, not in the name of religion that is used to create so much conflict for the benefit of those who were the hyperactive children. The time has come, the time of change is here. And as I said, my wish is my command. If it's your wish to see peace, the path of peace is laid very clearly. It's the soul of the collective awareness, by giving, will create that position of change. No other thing. There is no pen in the soul of the man. And I'm sure once you go into the universal community, you will never see anything written but the balance of the fields of the soul of the existence. Try to be humble enough not to become arrogant in the power that you have understood and you possess. Otherwise, you'll fall in the same path of the church and the mosque. This is what we promised, and this is what we have delivered. We have to understand the operation of the soul, and we have to understand the soul of the man is a star in the cosmos of the universe. If we compare the soul of the man and many of us, 7 billion in one collection, Earth is like a galaxy with so many stars. When we look in the depth of the universe, we see galaxies with hundreds of millions of stars in it. So is the planet Earth. It carries 7 billion beautiful stars, which are the soul of the man. Carries with it soul of so many trillions of animals, plants, and everything else. So if you look, when someone who does not see the physicality of the earth and its content, what do they see? They see a galaxy with so many beautiful lights shining, each one according to their strength, each one according to their position. An infant has a beautiful soul, so has the old man. To those who do not see the physical dimension of this planet, but they see the strength of the field, we are clusters of stars. The human race, every single soul, no one from a distance sees that's the soul of a fisherman, that's the soul of the cosmologist, that's the soul of the president. They all shine irrespective of the physicality. This is the magic. This is what the new science has to bring to man. When we look through our soul, we see nothing but we star in the other souls. And this is the break. This is the understanding. This is what all these teachings are about. Coming to mature to the next level, to understand in the deep space, the universe is the oyster for those souls who serve. Then man is ready to go into space. Then man is ready to become part of the universal community which has been promised. I never promised you heaven. I always promised you the elevation of the man to join the family. And now you have the key. It's you who has to open the door to understand, if I can raise the soul of these people or millions of other souls, that the physical life on this planet changes, then I'm worthy to be part of the universal community. To be there to serve, to expand. To be there, to be part, that in the cycle of life of universe, I become, in being part, I become part of the totality. When man reaches that point, a new dimension in the strength of the soul of the man will appear, which is beyond imagination of understanding of the physical life. It's the gate to the opening of the new life, in a new dimension, which is beyond imagination of what you might call a new beginning, a new cycle. Which that cycle carries with itself the origin of the creation of life in the universe and in the universe. It's the elevation of the soul to serve become the key, not a throne of the physical life. The time is right. The time has come for the man to go through this process.
Welcome everyone to the 81st One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace for Tuesday, June 18th, 2019. This is a broadcast from the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, part of the Public Education in English. My name is Rick Crammond. I'll be host today along with Flint Mulhausen and of course with Carolina Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, who I believe is ready to begin today's workshop. Is that true, Carolina?
I just didn't hear the last sentence you said.
Sorry, there might have been an echo. I didn't have my headphone plugged in all the way, apparently. Just saying that I believe you're ready to begin today's workshop.
Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope you all enjoy your springtime of nice weather. I have a very exciting boy here, so I'm sorry if he's gonna bother your ears, sorry, for a while. Yes, we will start fresh and bright. And does anybody have any news?
Well, one thing that we see in the news that has occurred in the last couple of days is the getting together of China and India and Russia. And apparently they all have had talks in the last, they've had a meeting this weekend, last weekend. And they are further cementing their peaceful agreement and appear to be a more or less cohesive force in the world for development and peace. So that's an interesting thing that's come up. There's been problems before with the border between, for example, India and China. There's some friction there, and so they've agreed to try to work that out, which is really big because this is a deep-seated, long-going conflict. And they actually got together in a special meeting apparently during this summit, and just to work out the details on how they can address that issue in particular. So that's some interesting developments in terms of world peace, I think. What else have people noticed out there that might be indicators of something we mentioned before, or some new developments that give us a hint that we're on the path of peace? Or of a conflict that needs our attention, perhaps?
No, not really. We are on the path of peace. We will have a few hyperactive children, which, as usual, but they show us where we can support for the time being until it all balances it out everywhere. I'm sorry I stayed a little bit quiet because I need to change system. And it is very, very, very warm. Yes, Topoli agrees with me. Topoli, you can't do that. I tried to explain yesterday. I love the principle that Mr. Keshe is working with to, as he asked himself last time he was present in one of the teachings, that like with the problem of the locusts in Iran and neighboring countries, it is bad. I do not know if you have any more information about that, Rick. If it's calmed down or if it still is carrying on.
You're talking about in the Strait of Hormuz there, where there's
the locusts, the attack.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I missed that. I thought you were saying the attack on the ships, on the oil ships, oil tankers.
No.
The attack of the locusts this time, yes. It's a different attack.
How the position is with that, because I don't have an overview.
I don't know anything about that. I can sort of look it up, but does anyone have any data on the...
It was on last Thursday teaching with Mr. Keshe. As usually, I go and try to find why these things take place. I explained it before in one of my private teachings that when you see these kind of big situations like this one with the locusts in Iran and neighboring countries, Africa has sometimes these huge outbursts with malaria. And as Mr. Keshe always says, it's the condition which attracts the field strength for certain things to come into position. Locust is no different than mosquitoes in understanding the emotional condition of the people. So I looked it up, and then you see the pattern of behavior from the situation or the condition, how people live, and with what they need to deal with every day. And locust has a characteristic like it's emotional based, as Mr. Keshe was explaining in his last Thursday teaching, that now the country, whoever is responsible for creating the image towards United States, now that is going to have to be redefined, and the truth will come on the table. But the same is happening from the Americans towards the Iranians and all the people from the Middle East in regarding what they have brought and publicly have informing the population about that nature of that country. The thing is that it's a culture, because it's been there for so many years, people have started believing in it because you see people's behavior. I don't say all of them, it's not general, but it's a big part because it has been in their education system. It's been taught in the schools, like we receive misinformed or disinformed information about our histories. And slowly, very slowly, we see the patterns unfolding, like it was mentioned last time, that by more in-depth of research, the history books will be adjusted. They will have to be adjusted because they found the truth in conditions which were not there as they were printed out in the books. So at the bottom line, Iran is going to have to mature in letting go, but in a flexible way, from what was into the new condition and the change. And that will not be such an easy process. We all think, oh yeah, but it's not, because it's embedded in there from when they were children. If you keep on getting said the same thing over and over again, and then the parents carry on and educate the children the same way, it becomes an established pattern of thoughts and behavior and expression. So with Iran also being part of the peace process and so many neighboring countries, is not only Iran. You will see there are more countries which have been affected by this plague of locusts. It's to let go of that, and it's not going to be easy. So my thoughts were to create a wish later on in the teaching or in the presentation, to create the wish so it gives people sufficient enough time to form the wish within their creative mind of giving, to support Iran to go into that flexible transition towards the openness of the West again, which they once were. They were actually ahead of the rest of the Western world till those doors closed. But there are still a lot of youngsters which know they still have the connection from what it once was in Iran. That's for sure. But that's not the only point. It's also the other side that will have to do that transition of point of view towards Iran. And we have seen that there are things which are not so standing out in the news, but you can notice it in certain things and certain ways. And if we work through the soul and the understanding of that we are plasmas and we are walking, moving field strengths. So if the majority is in the same direction of emotion, then we attract those kind of fields. I've noticed in the United States, they have extreme storms. They look very beautiful, but they are very extremely devastating. A locust is also a beautiful animal, but when it comes into such a huge mass, it does a lot of devastation. So we can support on both ends for them, because the minute they do this kind of transition in a flexible way, then those things do not occur anymore because the field strength of attraction is no longer there. You wanted to say something, Rick?
Well, yes. I was just looking through the news items about, locust swarms and so on. And there was one from May 1st of this year in Saudi Arabia. A big locust swarm issue was happening. I was about to mention that was the latest one that I could see. But I see there's another new article that just came out a couple of days ago about Italy. There's a locust swarm, quote, of biblical proportions that just hit Italy, apparently in Sardinia, off the coast of Italy. Local farmers reported it was the worst infestation they'd seen since the end of World War II. And the Italian Agricultural Association released a statement on Tuesday saying, quote, "We are walking on a locust carpet." So people are saying they haven't seen anything like this in 53 years. So it's funny that Mr. Keshe mentioned this last week. This would have been before it hit Italy. And then shortly after, sure enough, they have this infestation, apparently.
No. The pictures Mr. Keshe showed last Wednesday, or I cannot recall in which class he turned up. Yeah, it was in my class, yeah. He showed it's like an ocean of locusts. He says every single dot. Mr. Keshe is there. Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Yes, hello, yes. I have a good news for you. The Iranian scientists using our technology have found a solution for locusts. It's been tested last week and found to be effective. They're testing more this week. They have made special guns and the scientists seem to be effective. I think we have another meeting with them sometime next week and they're going to report back. through GANS technology, they have found an effective way to work. It works more or less, seems to be effectively, but they're going to be tested in a bigger scale. We have a meeting with them, I think, next week or this week. Then we can report back. But there is a solution, and apparently it's the first time they've seen it. It can be stopped. Then we're going into the larger scale in the next few weeks. In Iran, it's worse. It's the people on the streets in south of Iran, Tehran. There are people walking on them, the same. This came from rain in the desert, early spring, and they have divided. It's what it says in the Bible. They're going literally eating everything up. Iran is gone, what do you call it, part of North Africa has been hit. It's the same as when it was in the Bible, as they say, in the Old Testament. It's horrendous, but we've seen small test results, and it's to be effective now. We are too late for this time around, but with the technology, it seems to be working. We just got to see what they report back, the scientists. We're working in different directions in agriculture in Iran at the moment, very heavily. The team of Keshe Foundation team in Iran is heavily involved in this kind of evolution. And there's a large area of north of Iran has gone on the agriculture with the plasma technology this year. The rice fields on the back of the data from China. They're a very active team. We're working right across agricultural arena, and there is a solution. It seems to be a first site solution. We have to gather data, how it can be done, and then we look at it in China for what you call industrial units to carry this. The meeting we had with agriculturists in Iran, they were very optimistic. They found a solution, and it's through GANS production. We got to see how we get the reports back. We'll see what we can offer. But we are too late for this. One of the biggest problems, especially for what is said in setup and Universal Council members, and for the what you call Earth Council members, is please listen to Keshe Foundation announcement on Thursday. On Thursday, this Thursday, and the following Thursday, and the first week of July, Thursday, a number of announcements will be made by Keshe Foundation International. This is what do you call it at the moment, getting done, is getting set up. We're keeping it totally on the wrap around the 48 hours. It's an international public press release on Keshe Foundation. I cannot tell you any more, but then you understand we will be able to do a lot of other things, and this is part of it. Thursday announcement this week, and first week of July most probably. We'll give you a background to it this week on Thursday. Nothing can be released till the last minute on Thursday. We literally, most of us will hear it as is broadcasted the first time. There will be simultaneous announcements in Beijing and by Keshe Foundation International worldwide. Then a lot of these things will be sorted. A lot of these plagues, a lot of these problems, international problems, will be announced. You will understand. It's a major. We've been trying, we've been saying it for past few weeks. We could not disclose anything. Now we can disclose. And plagues like this, hurricanes, damages, earthquakes, we should be able to respond to the Keshe Foundation. This is one of the reasons I came here today, is that Thursday is one of is fairly more important announcements made by Keshe Foundation worldwide. And it's a major achievement for all of us. It's not just Keshe Foundation. Keshe Foundation is all of us in it. And we have kept it very close, but yesterday or Monday, information was released internationally. We can't control it anymore. So we have to make an announcement to complete it. The information we've been holding back for nearly a month, 6 weeks now, has been put in public domain, and in response to it, both Chinese government and Keshe Foundation are responding on Thursday. And what we call situations like this plague will be handled. Ebola, major problems around the world. One of the problems we have with Keshe Foundation at the moment is we have a solution, but very scattered by few knowledge seekers. To be able to respond to these kind of things, we can do maybe 1,000 meter, 10,000 meter, maybe we can handle 1 million plagues of locusts around the world. But this needs a massive operation. And we have to look at this on that scale. We have the problems, we have the solutions, but unfortunately, we don't have the factories. We don't have the setups. And this is the major problem. We have solutions for Ebola. We can eradicate Ebola within less than 30 seconds. Doesn't matter where, but we don't have the structure to mass produce. Mass production response, what we call mass response unit, is something which needs to come into plan, needs to be considered. We had the earthquake yesterday in China. 11 people died, more than 11 by the time we finish. We're expecting massive earthquakes coming up, which is usual with the next 10 years. We should have at least 2 major earthquakes, around 250,000 losses, maybe 500,000 people homeless. We have nothing to respond. Now we have the system to respond. We have achieved a very big step. And listen, on Thursday, we come to these knowledge seekers, we come to Universal Council, One Planet, One Earth, but we keep on putting solutions, but we don't have the mass response. We cannot respond to area like half of Iran. Sardinia is a small island. We have a solution, but we don't have the material to respond. This has been one of the biggest problems. We have solution for many things. Now, international consortium is getting set up, which is in its infancy position, and most probably you will hear on Thursday. Keshe Foundation will make announcements on Thursday. Everything for it is getting made up. You will hear it. All of us will be what do you call it, except very few people on top of the structure of the Keshe Foundation worldwide. We have kept it very, very tight. But what do you call it, a position took place yesterday on Monday, which has forced us to go public. And as I said, the structure has to be that we can respond. To make 1,000 liter, 10,000 liter of gas is no good. We need systems which can deliver it. We need drones which can fly over and deliver it. We have the solution. Or Locust, we have 100% solution. And it's been tested. We tested it in China. We have tested it in Iran. And its response. And Iran and China will become the center of the intellectual center of the Keshe Foundation worldwide. We have set up a collaboration. Iran, Russia, and China will become, and have become now, gradually the center of the total development research of the Keshe Foundation worldwide. And we are trying to do other things we'll announce on Thursday. We have solutions for many things, but this is just one person doing something. To see the benefit, we need to go commercialize. We need to commercialize in the larger scale. And it's all be done by, what do you call it, has to be done in a proper way, not just by talking. It needs massive investments, it needs massive backing. And it needs a lot of things which, all these little tests we've done has brought it forward. It's not that just is one thing. Everything we have shown, everything we have presented. Somebody's microphone is open. Armanjan, your phone is open. Your microphone. All has been and was concluded because of what happened yesterday. That the information was released public, but not many people knew. But a large number of international press have got hold of it. I don't know how they done it, what happened. We had emergency meetings yesterday and today, and because of it, a lot of things was brought forward by more than a week, 10 days. And it was concluded today. Tomorrow morning again we have board meetings to further complete, and it'll be announced on Thursday meeting. Only, as I said, we have kept it very, very confidential. It had to be, but we need, it's not that we don't have the technologies. All the technologies of the Keshe Foundation has been proven to be correct. All of it. And it's been tested by governments. And a lot of knowledge seekers who did the test and they put it on the internet, or we discussed it, we've shown it. There have been shadow research groups which have been following most of whoever has said something to test. And these shadow scientific organizations which belong to governments have proven 80% of their claims. And now it needs, has no option but to move into the next cycle. It has no option. And now we enter that phase. And as I said, less than a handful of people in the foundation know. And everything is getting done in a very close package till we announce it on Thursday. And because of the response of information release on Monday internationally, what do you call it, the structure we have here. We brought everything forward by a week. And this morning everything fell in place. Tomorrow we have the time to literally do the patching up, whatever needs to be done. And on Thursday morning, you'll be announced simultaneously in Beijing and by Keshe Foundation worldwide. It is now, it'll take us maybe 3 to 5 years to set a structure to be able to respond to a situation like these plagues. It'll take us massive structures. It's not you can do it on one gas box and one small factory. And with the structure we have, we are not looking at people who just make ganses and or they've been around the Keshe Foundation showing ganses. We're looking, and if you heard in past 3-4 weeks, we made a number of announcements. We're looking for elite scientists. You will understand on Thursday, because somebody who made ganses, if they would have taken it to the next step, they would have done other things. Most of the Keshe Foundation supporters just make the same ganses, the same thing, but the knowledge is beyond it. So you will see massive evolutions. And we have to look at the scale of this planet. It's huge. We've been watching this locust to come, but we have found the solution. It's not possible, so it's 100% solution. But how many buckets of gases can we produce to stop such a development, so such a rapid spread of these things across nearly 2-3 continents? Is North Africa. Now, is what they call it, Middle East has been hit, and Asia, now Europe has been hit. You need larger scale deployment, and we don't have it. We just can make, maybe in China we make about 3,000 to 5,000 liters of gas a month. Then that's pushing it. To meet such a scale of problems, you need at least between 30,000 to 50,000 liters per day, maybe up to 200,000 liters per day. It's not that we have to, what you call, have reserves, but we have to have the capability and capacity. This is the biggest problem. And a technology like this needs another 3 to 5 years to be able to even set what you call it, the structures we can produce to meet. And the other dimensions of it is huge. Universal Council members and the same, what do you call, the Earth Council members. The Earth Council has already been informed of the development of the step which is coming. The Earth Council has been informed the steps some 2-3 weeks ago, and that such a thing has taken place. And we have to take our own steps as the members of the Earth Council to see what the next step is going to be. We are not holding to any structure. It is a full, what do you call, governmental structure. Somebody who's been around Keshe Foundation for whatever and made cancers, literally they can bring new technologies out, new dimensions. But we have to extend the knowledge. This is why it's like we need to make it available that it can be done. And these things are going to be more and more of it. France has been hit by plagues in vineyards. There is no solution. We have got a solution. Um, the part of Africa has been hit by different plagues. We don't have a solution. In Central Asia, if you see the videos coming out of Vietnam, how they literally, if you've seen the videos which we have access to, 100,000, 50,000 pigs, they just dig a hole 100 meter by 100 meter, 20 meter, 5 meter, 10 meter deep, and just they herd them live into these grounds, into these holes, and just put soil on top of them. If you've seen the videos of the African swine pig in Vietnam, literally, if you see, we have access to, because we talk to these people, but we have the solution, but we don't have the production. They put 20, 30,000 pigs, like a herd of cows, you see. They dig a hole and they force them to go into the hole's life. They cover them. The noise of them is horrendous. We can, but we cannot produce 1 million liters of cans. The trials of the gas trials with a specific process, we released the papers some 2 or 3 months ago. It's so successful. Within 7 days, we saved out of 829 pigs. Usually all die. They slaughter, most of them die within the first 3 weeks. Within 7 days, 725 were alive, no sign. Even those who were literally dying came back to life. We put them all, 40 of them, in one corner, and we just looked after them with the different combination and structure of gases, and they all more or less survived. And the 100 more or less died was from the time they discovered to they told us till we arrived and the system became effective. When I walked into the farm, I don't know if you've seen the pictures of it, there were bags right in the first silo. And I said, what are these bags? They said, these are the 73 which have died in past 3 days since we noticed till you arrived. And you've seen the paper. We released the paper both in English and Chinese. And there's a lot of developments. We have found solutions for more or less all pests. I've shown these pictures very recently. I don't know if you've seen it. This is a trial. They came to us in China in March. They said it's getting bad. And I released the pictures. If you haven't seen it, I'll show it to you again. If I find it. This is the problem of finding pictures. Just 1 second.
think Mr. Keshe is still looking for the pictures.
I think he dropped out.
Oh? Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
He'll be coming back pretty soon, though.
I think that explains the stunned silence here then. Okay, everyone, just bear with us a minute or two while we reconnect with Mr. Keshe and carry on with the workshop.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Keshe. Yes, you were about
I'm
to.
back here.
You were looking for some pictures.
Yeah, I fell out. Something happened with my internet. I show you how effective the technology is. We have shown it before. These are some pictures. Let me go back. I try to do it. Just 1 second, please. I developed this about 3 years ago, and we tested it, and we've seen the result. And I'll show you another pictures. I think this is important because Universal Council, from now on, your work really starts. You see, this is a plague. We've shown this before a few weeks ago in massive farming. Is huge, and the farmer literally loses everything. The plant dies, and as you see, the wheat die, the beans die. This is again from KF SSI documentation. You see the date is the 19th of March this year. The government reported immediate result they wanted. I made the GANs, we sent it, it was sprayed on that day in the afternoon. This is on the 20th, and this is on 21st. We saved the whole farm. Finished. Total cost, less than $1 to save this farm. This effectiveness of it. And now larger scale, as you see, if you can see, this is a larger scale, hundreds of thousands of square meter on the cultivation, on the GANs production in 2 nations. This you see, this is with the GANs, and this is without the GANs. So you can see the difference. Planted the same day. These are in a small pots. Then they'll be cultivated. This is a rice. Then they'll be cultivated back in the land. And this is the same process. You see the difference. This is huge. We expect 3 to 6 times harvest this year. Don't forget, China needs only 40% increase in harvest, not 300%. These are, this is one trial, 100,000 square meter. We have another trial, 1 million square meter, and we see the same results. And we have to develop new technologies to achieve this. And it's very clear, very, very clear the difference. And when you look at it, you see even the number of stems is different. The farmers are reporting, because this is not in the hand of farmers, it's in the hand of agricultural communities that are testing. Next year, we test over around about 300 million square meters in China with rice and other products. the results are incredible when we look at the data. And when you look at this in 3 days, because it's recorded, 19th in the afternoon, it was sprayed. We have the 20th and we have 21st. This is total destruction of a farmer. This is a farmer which can save his life. This is a nation begging for food, waiting for a handout. This is a nation becomes a food exporter. This is huge. We have made effects, and government will respond. And this right the way through. Agriculture, health, environment, water pollution, they all come into operation. It's been a harsh time. A lot of people around the Keshe Foundation didn't like, but it was a decision I made, and I stand by my decision. I see on the top of the Keshe Foundation the whole structure. You see windows. I see the whole house, and the house wasn't on the secure ground. I had to secure it, and it's been secured. A lot of you cried and shouted and whatever. It didn't count because you were in the house, you didn't see what's falling around you. And still some of you don't see it, but that's something. We had the foundation for these reasons, because we see the whole thing in the total. Not just everybody's looking at his own windows, my place, my business, mine doesn't count. It's ours, and it had to be secured. And we have secured the future of the Keshe Foundation worldwide. It doesn't count. And sometimes you don't see the worms. There were too many, what I call worms, inside the Keshe Foundation working against the Keshe Foundation. And a lot of things had to be sorted. A lot of positions of the Keshe Foundation had to be sorted to achieve what we set up as a universal council to be able to operate. One planet, one nation, one race needs one road, one belt to build it, hold it together. Without a belt around it, you cannot do anything. You can't hold the trousers up if you cannot put a belt to it. This is the difference. And the job of the Universal Council starts more or less gradually. You have to build up. You have to understand what your people need, and we have to understand. We don't wait for something to happen. We make it to happen, and it's taken me 2 years hard work to make it to happen. A lot of people in the foundation cries. A lot of people who've been wasting time around the foundation, who could not get what they wanted. It does not count. The future of humanity counts. What we are here to create peace counts. 1 bill not paid here, 2 bills not paid there, or we couldn't deliver this. It would have been all running around and always another step. I had the foundation because I've been given the capability to do it, and I do it very good. I don't understand. I stand a lot of rough time. I see a lot of people around the foundation suffering, but short-term suffering needed a long-term healing. And this is what we will see in the coming weeks. And as I said, we are the solution, but we need production. We need to be able to deliver. We need that momentum to change the direction. And A lot of people shouted and howled in the foundation, "You're going wrong," because they don't see what I see. Heading this foundation is not easy. And putting it in the right track for centuries to come is not one man's job. One day does not count, 1 year does not count. And we have, a lot of us, done a lot of tests, but it has to be done in a way that it can be delivered. Otherwise we become what we call a fringe science society, and then they call us a cult, and then they call us everything else. But it was my job as head of Keshe Foundation, was totality of the Keshe Foundation and all of us to bring this family in the right way, and it's been done. This is, what do you call it? This was completed some 2-3 weeks ago. It took me 2 years to put it together. I had enough of shouting and howling and everything else from all sides of the Keshe Foundation, a lot of pain. But there is no gain without pain, as they say in English. And be there on Thursday morning, you will understand. We have another 24 hours, what we call the teams around, putting everything together, that it will be announced on Thursday morning. As I said, because of what happened yesterday internationally, Fox News got hold of it. They're holding back. BBC got hold of it. CNN got hold of it. And somehow everybody's holding back. A lot of you don't know what has happened. 2 or 3 people in this room know what happened. And so we had to bring a meeting, emergency meeting yesterday and today. And we will respond on Thursday morning in public. Announcement will be made, as I said, by the Chinese government and the Keshe Foundation on Thursday morning. And this is how it will be. I work loyal to the foundation, but I make decisions to save the foundation in the right way. I don't look at who, what. There are a lot of people who wasted a lot of time around the foundation. We paid a lot of people who did nothing. And there are a lot of people who pretended to do a lot of things and did nothing, and a lot of people who took nothing and did a lot, and a lot of people who did a lot of things with a lot of nothing coming, but all had to be put in the right way. It's a decision which, sitting here, I moved to China 2 years ago in June, and around about the same time. And what we have done, what we have achieved internationally, will take any organization at least 30 to 50 years to do it. And we achieved in 2 years. And it's not easy. It's not been easy. I thank many of you who've been there, because people here in these teachings are those of you who are very close to Foundation. In these teachings we don't get on Tuesdays. Many people outside this, we are all close to work of the Foundation, and you've all been there. And now on Thursday you will understand. But we have all the technologies. We have systems which changes cancers in minutes, but it's just talk. We have technologies which can eradicate the beetles and God knows. I call them cricket and you call them lotus and everything else. But it had to be done. It had to be done the right way. And it has to be done for the long term, not short term. It had to be done that it brings equality to the whole of the planet, not just to one side. It has to be correct that all of us get benefit by it, not some of us. And it had to be done, and that is not decided by government, it's decided by humanity. Each nation has its own problem. In Austria, the woods which are disappearing because of the plague which is going on there, farmers are losing. In France, the vineyards have been hit bad. In Italy, we have the same thing with vineyards and olives and water. We have the same thing in North Africa with another part. We have in Nigeria is a huge problem with environmental damages. In South America, we have worse with drugs and development of distribution of and making of what you call cocaines. All this has been addressed. We have problems in America with the same kind of things. Russia is suffering heavily through three other problems. It's not just one place. The structure set up now looks at the totality. And it's called Keshe Foundation. You will understand so by Thursday. It's not somebody somewhere. It's all the things which all the Keshe Foundation supporters have done, and there's more to come. Huge amount to come. We have not touched a lot of problems, a lot of viruses. And as I said in the talk to the officials in the past few weeks, do not look that we solve a problem with this new technology. We'll create new problems we have to find a solution for. It's not that once we say we've done everything is the time when we haven't seen what we have caused. Our technology, the use of the GANS technology will create new headaches for us, for governments, for solutions and research. We have shown how powerful we can be, how, as I explained, the Mason ship was blocked. When I explained the process to the scientists, how we done it, they're shocked. How simple it is to stop a war. We are not a group of agriculturists, one pharmaceutical organization with one medicine. We have a pile, we are a chemist of all the problems of humanity. Which drawer do you want me to open up and which medicine do you want me to give you? This is what has been realized in the past few weeks. But at the same time, as I said, when you take one medicine or another, you have other side effects that you have to find a solution for. We eradicate hunger with a new technology. But what are we going to do with the farmers who produce the food up to now? We bring new technology and energy, but how many millions we put out of job? We are not just a solution, we are a creator of new problems. And the way we are structuring it, we're finding solutions for the problems we are creating. And this is what a lot of people around the foundation don't understand. And this is the job of universal councils. Whenever you run your meetings and with the governments or as a group, just don't look what you can solve for one. Look at what problems will create for the others, that you solve that problem first and the first one will be solved by its own. Our biggest problem, I mentioned last Thursday, is peace is going to cost us a lot. We are literally going through communications and starting looking how we're going to find job for just about 1 billion people who will be touched by peace. 15% of the world population are busy, involved, or get benefited by the war machine. It's amazing. 45% of the nation income is in selling arms. GDP, 45% of one nation is by developing new systems to kill. The state of Belgium. The only people who are more or less safe in it are people who don't spend on it. The most developed nations, Japan and Japan, have benefited by not being so much involved in arm production. The funds have gone into industry, and they are industrious because they don't spend much money on the arms. And this is another problem we have. It's amazing. We are looking in the total structure with this new technology. We create new jobs. There's no doubt about it. But we have two things which now we are looking at. One is the position of creating condition people do what they like. There is a program going on in a country called Armenia, a small country with 3 million population. We are looking at a structure inside Armenia very beautifully. The youngsters don't need to get a degree. They don't look for certification. It's there's some 13,000-14,000 of them, and they're allowed to pursue their interest. And we are monitoring this for some couple of years, and it seems to create a society, a peaceful society within the generation. They still have to carry on their curriculum, they still have to do their work, but in this institute there is no exams, the same as Keshe Foundation. You don't need to prove you do because you enjoy. And this shows a social structure to come in the future. We have to be able to provide, and this Armenian organization, which is come out of a nation which literally has nothing to do. The youngsters have to be entertained and kept in a small country, locked in a way, landlocked. 80% of its borders are locked down, 20% border. The only border more or less open is with Iran. Don't forget the Iranian created Armenia by taking the Armenians to keep them safe. And now we see a lot of good results out of this organization. It's very, very similar. It's set more or less on the same structure of the knowledge seekers. There is no degrees, there is no certification. It's only ratification and pleasure of learning. And this is how the future society has to be. We do things because of the pleasure of it. We have things to do because we want to do something. Employment is going to become a huge problem. We're looking at the moment in the health sector. From research, some 60 to 80% of the hospitals around the world are not needed. This is how we see technologies. The new health center of the Keshe Foundation opening in December is massive. But out of such a huge structure, very little beds to hold patients. This is the Keshe Foundation new health organization, part of us. I've shown it before. We expect 3,000 patients, but hardly any to stay. The only possibilities which we cannot see, and this is a development which is going on, with the new technology, none of the Keshe Foundation development people have looked into surgery. We have to look, we asked a team of scientists that are looking in the background with it, how we're going to operate. We have accidents. You get a car crash, you have to sort it out. You got the earthquake, you got people who are injured. How we have to research and develop into surgical systems. And we have to develop structures that goes. This is the Keshe Foundation headquarters for health, already built. We were moving in first week of December. We can now release it internationally. 51 floors. Keshe Foundation has moved on. We don't see any need for hospitals beds, but we need structures to be able to deliver operations. How do we use the new technology in heart resuscitation? We have a lot still to do. We looked at a few diseases. Now we are looking at, it's the next step. We are looking at surgical systems. There's a lot to do. It's not just a few ganses that a lot of people on the surface are involved in. Mass production in communication. The present telephone and mobile communication is obsolete in what we see and what we are testing. Production of the materials in the mass is huge. Now I have set everything up to go forward. A lot of people shout and cry, I'm deaf, because they only see their patch. I see the whole carpet. And it has to be perfect that the carpet can hold on together. There's no use having holes in it. And every growth has some pain. And that's how it's going to be. I don't listen to this is this, that's that. Okay, we see it, but the ultimate goal has been to change humanity, and the ultimate goal has been to bring the conditions for it. Otherwise we become a fringe society talking, so they have a few cancers here and there, bunch of people selling a few things, and they think now they are owners of this and that and cheating and helping themselves, and then denying all has been sorted. In next maybe 12 months, you hardly see anyone. Everything will go in the direction we set up. You will understand. Just listen to Thursday teaching. One country, one factory, one office, one branch of Keshe Foundation does not count at all. The whole of the humanity and what we can do and what we can set up. That's why we came here, Universal Council. Otherwise, you're just a bunch of people who come and talk and go. It's not that. cannot be that. And you cannot keep your eyes off the ball. And Caroline and I have put too much into it to let it go this way. And many of you the same. Some of you are 4 or 5 years in it. I'm in it for 40 years. I planned step by step everything, but some things we are a few years late, some things we are a few days early. But at the end of the day, we have entered a new phase for the foundation, and to understand the work is it goes back to my business life. At the age of 22, when I came out of university, decided to go to business, I realized very soon I does not count. I is too small. We does a little bit better, but us works perfect. And I learned Keshe Foundation on its own has a lot, but not much, is I. I brought it to become we, and then I made it us, which brings pride. In the English language, you understand the difference between a you and a you, and we and us. We has detachment, us is us connected. And in understanding of it, it needs a lot of work to be done. And as I say, Keshe Foundation supporters are like children. You have to give a little lollipop just to keep them busy till the other children are ready to go for the party. Because you know, if you have 2 or 3 kids, you can't get them clothes at the same time. They want you clothes first, you have to give something to be waiting till the other 2 are ready, and then the other one who are not ready, you have to give something to busy till the one you made ready is ready. And Keshe Foundation is our family, so we had to give a little bit to this, a little bit to that, keep everybody busy for the past 2 years till it's achieved. And now the party begins. We got a long, long way to go. But the horrendous part of it is, I'm stepping down. I want to know, on this platform, you're all Universal Council, all of you, your headache has just started. I started a fire, now you have to keep the fire going and expand it. Not to burn, but warm enough to be warm and cook with it, and not burn the house down with it. Just be there on Thursday. Nothing will be released. Everything is kept very, very close lockdown, both by Chinese government and the Keshe Foundation. Very few right on the top of the Keshe Foundation. Now working on it at the moment to structure it, and it'll be released on Thursday. We don't have a choice because international community at the high levels have found out that we have to respond. We were hoping to be very casual by Friday, maybe early next week. One step will be done, then we'll be ready. But because of the release, as I said yesterday, everything had to be brought emergency yesterday and today forward. And we will be there to respond. And it's thanks to all of you, every Keshe, every every teaching, every paper, it worked beautifully when I looked at it, and I've been sitting and analyzing for past few weeks. I suffered a lot. I've aged 20 years in past year, but it had to be done this way. I looked at how many of the Keshe Foundation supporters start selling things. If you remember, a couple of years ago, I said I give you the right to sell the Keshe Foundation logo, everything. You can use the logo as long as you don't abuse it. And internationally has worked. Governments are seeing that everywhere you can buy Keshe Foundation, GANs, Keshe Foundation, GANs, Keshe Foundation, and it's everywhere on the internet. Everybody is doing it. We better move in and control it or be part of it. In many countries in the Western world, government officials have put scientists to very casually to speak to Keshe Foundation supporters, the ones who are making things, going there, asking them, what do you think about Mr. Keshe? And what do you think you're selling or whatever? And they have gathered the data on us. When I saw the data, when they gave me the data, I was shocked. How governments have been gathering information on Keshe Foundation. They showed it to me. When they showed me what is going on, how many of the Keshe Foundation supporters they have interviewed without them knowing, even they pretended to be knowledge seekers, and they gathered data. And it worked. And strange enough, they tell me you haven't seen what other things we can do with the technology. I said, I know, but that's your problem. How are we going to bring it out? How are we going to do it? In 5 years' time, there'll be nothing in the society, in the household, in our social interaction, which is not touched one way or another by the new technology. What I see, what I said, and the research I see around the world, and it's going to touch all of us. But as I said before, we're not carrying any dead wood. Everyone has to be in the position they have according to their own knowledge and the strength, what they can contribute to where it is. And there are a lot of people with beautiful ideas, and there are a lot of people expecting a lot because they were there somewhere, sometime. These things works to the next step, to the next level. And it has to be, what do we call it, collectively beneficial to all humanity. And we cannot, even if you become Universal Council members in the future, you cannot stop the hurricanes. You cannot, never ever try to stop natural phenomena. You would understand sooner or later. I hear people talking about how can we stop these floods? How can we stop all these whatever? We cannot, and we should not. We got to be aware of them. We got to find a place to be out of them. But if you touch anything in the future, this is a word of wisdom if you understand it. If you stop these hurricanes and floods in Central America, you will get it in South Asia. You will get it in Africa. The work of the fields of this planet is like a clock gearbox together. All these gears, if you put a pin somewhere else the pin will blow. It's all needed. Plagues like locusts, we can interfere. but never anywhere, because the knowledge will be in the hand of the man in the future to do. Foundation or the knowledge of the foundation should never work to interfere with the clockwork of this planet or anywhere in the universe just because we can. You shelter from it, but you don't interfere with it. Because if you put as we say, a stick in the clockwork here, a spring somewhere else and the watch will blow up. And I hear a lot of people say, how can we stop the earth? We cannot. How can we the hurricanes? We make a shelter for it, but that's all we can do. But above it, you have to let it happen. Otherwise, you cause problems somewhere else. We have a solution for barrier reefs, they call it, dying. We have shown it, it works, but we don't have the factories to deliver the materials for it. We can save all the barrier reefs in no time. Is understanding the problem. And finding a solution for totality and understanding the process of barrier reefs dying is not a strange thing. It's happened many times, because you just need to go where you get all your chalks to put on the wall, and where you buy your plaster boards from. Where did they come from? From barrier reefs that in the cycle of life of this planet have gone under and they become what they are. We try to make it big, but the planet finds another solution. It's time to move. And as Amar knows, I'm deaf to a lot of things. I just say yes, but I see the bigger picture has to come its time. If it's not right time, it cannot happen. And if it's not the time for it to happen, it will not be the right time. Everything has to be. And the cycle needs to be planned to be perfect for a long-term solution, not a short-term just to keep a few people happy. Individuals to be happy does not count in my book. What individuals do, that it changes the totality, all of us. And I look back in our what is the outcome when we open into the universal community. It has to be correct from here, that becomes correct too. We don't export our problems. We solve the problem before we start exporting anything. It's I go to bed with anyone who can bring and guarantee the correct work, but sometimes they have to wait their time to be, because the others are not there ready for it. Doesn't count. Nothing in the world of what you call humanity, which benefits all, counts. Mankind has been fooled enough for that day of promise. I'll give you the world peace, there will be the heaven, and it'll be honey. The honey and the world peace is here today. Whatever they promise is here. But it doesn't come from the sky. It'll come from effort of all of us. Every single human being. Land of honey is when mankind works together in one direction, and we're getting there. We see a lot of things, and one of them is diverting all these funds from war into peace. And then when you've done that, support enough people what to do and how to keep busy. And you cannot export people out of this planet just to keep people quiet here. We don't create another, what we call, exiling people from planet or sending people out just for the sake of we don't have jobs or we don't have. We have to make everything here secure, pleasurable, that people go out with pleasure, not another, if you know about the 10-pound job in Australia. British to make Australia, sorry if you're Australians, made a bunch of criminals. They exiled or they sent all the criminals to Australia. And if they, as they couldn't make the population, they paid them £10 ticket to go to Australia. That's how they increased the population. Or they got rid of their criminals. So we don't have any of those. It'll take another 10, 20 years to reach the balance. It won't happen overnight, but I have laid down the correct foundation for it to start. Thank you very much for listening, but be there on Thursday, you will understand.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Are you open to questions about this topic?
Yes, but I answer as usual if I like to answer.
Yes, that's some sensitive issues, that's for sure, and you have to be careful about making announcements before the announcement is announced, I'm sure. Are there any questions from anyone? I know Jalal had his hand up earlier. I'm not sure if you want to go ahead there, Jalal. Not sure if he is able right now.
No, it's okay, Rick. He answered my question earlier. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else with a question for Mr. Keshe?
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
This is Marius from Romania. And if I may ask Mr. Keshe if he can bring more details about the medical center that will be finished and working on December this year, if I am not wrong. And what should we do until then?
Carry on.
What should we do until then on the medical side?
This is one of the 3 centers gifted to the foundation by the Chinese. This is the gift we have received. In the next couple of weeks, maybe next week, we were trying to do it this week, we are not ready yet. We will announce a center in China. Is already operating. We're expecting it to open up in July or another week, 10 days. It's delayed by a week or 2. This is a hospital which will apply the Keshe Foundation technologies that are working on it. It's some legal certification, others needs to be completed if we can get it done. That we will announce a telephone number and address and the specific diseases which we have started to sort out. China will become the center of the operation of the Keshe Foundation for many things. Then, as you know, we are working on it. I cannot tell you, you will understand more on Thursday where we're going to do what is going on. But this center, we are not even handed over yet. We think, I met with the people who are in charge of the building. I had a meeting even on Saturday. Around September, we will be most probably given access to the building to go in, and Keshe Foundation Austria is responsible for this center to furnish it fully with conjunction with the Keshe Foundation China. We start the process in most probably health application in 2 or 3 countries. We're waiting for other things to complete. World is full of sick people. We started a procedure in past day or 2. Hopefully they start doing some testing for what do you call it? It's a discussion point at the moment for production of injection of GANs as a what do you call deterrent into the blood system. So that will take us some time. That will come hopefully through our Iranian scientists in Iranian research centers. The program is in its infancy, but once it takes hold, will complete, will receive certification through Iranian health authorities, hopefully, if they can complete it. And the progress will be very rapid because the results are very, very strong. Intravenous injections is not allowed unless it's done with some doctors have used it, but now we're trying. It's on the very, very early discussions. It'll be carried out by the Iranian scientists. Then we will take it to the next step. But in general, there is a lot of problem which we see, we have seen in the recent past. We have to understand the separation of the present medicine, pharmaceuticals, and the Keshe Foundation work on the medical application. There is a lot of things which we do not put in public, but there has to be legislation. It can only be done by legislation worldwide. And I have been with World Health Authorities in discussion some times ago to push this thing to the next level. And there's going to be a lot of legislation. We'll see a frenzy of legislation about GANs, application of it, the health aspect of it in the next 3 years, 3 to 5 years. There's a lot of good things about using the GANs for health, but there are a lot of things which we have to observe how we use it, for what purpose. These all need to be trained doctors, and I see the new training started in Brazil will be a cornerstone of the next steps of these things. But we cannot respond. The health center in China is for Chinese, and we could, by June of next year, we'll have 3 buildings like this in our possession. As part of, we are 30% shareholder, but we provide more or less 80% of the scientific technology. There is a section for diagnosis, there's a section for analysis, and then there is a section for application of the technology. We only get 10 floors of this building for the application. We still have to bring the GANs into diagnosis. We have to still bring GANs in what you call development of the science. It all take time. diagnosis is important because we are a space program and we are looking into this program very clearly. We don't have doctors. How are we going to diagnose a disease? And how do we do it that is correct to both sides? A temperature and a blood test doesn't say much. I was in a exhibition invited by the Chinese health authorities about 10 days ago. They have an amazing system. We sat one of the knowledge seekers on it to assess it in the conference, in the what do you call it, exhibition. They have developed, which it was fascinating, a system on the old Chinese traditional medicine, which is absolutely amazing. When you see it, it's just its infancy. It's come out. They put the first couple of machines out, and we went through testing it. They asked us to go and see it because as part of the Keshe Foundation, Chinese government, the Iranian government space program, we are looking into all aspects of it. And they have made a camera. They made a system. It's very much like an MRI. Then you stick your tongue out and it plans out the disease through the structure of your tongue, the way a Chinese medicine man does. And they have developed a wrist. If you've seen how the Chinese doctors hold the wrist and then listen to the heartbeat, the machine takes right hand and the left hand heartbeat, and it measures just the heartbeat. It takes the whole emotion of the wrist, and then it diagnoses your, in conjunction between your tongue and your hand, it diagnoses your disease, be it a cancer, be it the liver failure, and data at the moment is around about 90-95% accurate. Then now we are looking at combination. We were discussing with the health authorities. It's going to start this week or next week. A combination of the Keshe Foundation technology and Chinese medicine. We had a meeting this week. We're going to carry on next few weeks. It's going to be a very big structure part of this hospital. Because the Chinese trust the Chinese medicine, but on the other hand, there's a problem with the Chinese medicine, inherent problem of other things which we know. So we are putting a team together to test this. As a top scientists in China will be involved. We're just putting them in this week, and we got a meeting, I think, on Friday or next week. So what else do we have? What about our traditional medicines? In Romania, Iranian traditional medicine, the Red Indians, the native Australians, and we have to look at the whole lot. There is a fact that I don't know if you know how much you know. Every 100 pharmaceutical medicine goes for trial. 3 to 5 ever get past clinical trial. And the 4 out of the 5 or 2 out of the 3 or nearly 2.5 out of the 3 which passed the trial, to be able to commercialize that the financial rewards can be gained from it in something else, have a high rate of problems, which is death, side effects which are not reversible, and many other things. So in all the medicines, out of 1,000, 5 medicine is acceptable that they do not cause enough side effects. And to get out of medicine 100 of them to the point just they can get rejected or accepted to go commercial. Each one costs just around $100 million. The figures I give you is more or less accurate, 100%. So if you get pharmaceuticals, give you medicine, or they fiddle with it to get it certified by FDA, you have a side effect. And they are amazing how they are doing it. So now you understand, with spending 100 million, 100 companies spend 100 million, that's, you can imagine the figures, 3 of them get license. And those 3 never make for money they paid in 100 million. So a lot of falsification comes into medicine to get even these 3 through. They falsify, and we see some of them when they come out, and we see the side of, even if they got FDA approval. And then you have problems which are sitting with the normal medical system. And how do we sort out these problems? With advanced technology, it's the other way around. We have to find out the limitation of our technology. We have to find out the effect of our technology. We have to find out how much we are devoted to looking at the reality, not just because we are a Keshe Foundation people and we do it and we are right. We have problems with our technology. And then, are we going to spend billions getting these, what we have, into public? But a lot of people are trying it. And we need to understand this. It's not going to be all hunky-dory because we have a Keshe Foundation documents. Huh? We have to understand we are part of, we have to be visual to what we are doing. And the doctors at the moment, they prescribe anything which has got FDA on it, and they can get a commission on it. And this is very, very interesting how I send you, let me take a picture of this. I explain to you what you mean, what I'm trying to explain to you. This is what, if you're honest with the work you do and you understand what you're doing, not just because you're a Keshe Foundation supporter or just because something you've done, you look at everything. You look at, see how your system affects people. Yeah. I post this and it's very interesting. This medicine is given by the American doctors around the world to patients, and they get a good commission out of it. Just see it and read. I post it for you. Just read what's on it. It's FDA approved, and FDA has put on it suicide risk, and FDA very, very seldom produce a black box warning. Black box warning needs to have at least we think about 1,000 deaths before it becomes into black box. There's a certain regulations for FDA. And this medicine is actually prescribed by doctors today in and across the world. It says this drug has a black box warning. This is the most serious warning from the Food and Drug Administration. A black box warning alert doctors and patients about drug effects that may be dangerous. And 95% of the patients taking it become suicidal. And they're still prescribing it because the money they spend on it to commercialize it has not been returned. Antidepressant called Depoxin may cause you to have suicidal thought and behavior. And is an over-counter medicine. Doctors can prescribe it. In the Western world, have sorted this problem in a different way for themselves, is that if you go to American or most probably, I think in Canada it's the same. Nowadays, in the olden way, they used to give you a box with a prescription, with all the side effects in leaflet, you could read it. To overcome these that they can commercialize, they just give you the bottle with your name and name of medicine on it. Because they don't want you to read the paper and don't touch it. This is how criminal the pharmaceutical has become. The tradition was that medicine given, especially at such a high risk black box, is left to the decision of the patient. The doctor has to make money. The pharmaceutical has to make money. They come up with a trick that they don't give you anything. Unless you are literate, you go on a computer, you go on the internet, and you know what questions to ask, where to go to find it. Otherwise, you commit suicide. And it's not that the Keshe Foundation technology is immune from these things. People will use it, abuse it. But why FDA allows a black box product to be going and they know 95% of the people commit suicide? They literally commit suicide. It's not that they're possible. We have other cases like this. Chemotherapy, the biggest killing machine. But the killing comes 5 years later, 7 years later. But because it's so far from it, you don't see it, you don't relate to it. But we know it is not. The data confirms it is. But 2.5 million for a breast cancer chemotherapy. We all die. The philosophy of the pharmaceutical today is we all die, so it doesn't matter, we can get some money from you till next time. This is what I say, FDA has no credibility. When you see this, you understand. Certification has to come out of the correct conduct of the Keshe Foundation and its technology, not out of people with bribery. And over 120,000 Americans every year are prescribed with this medicine. Take the average 60,000 lives. FDA does not care to ban the medicine because the pharmaceutical wanted to get money back. I hope I answered you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. Indeed. But another question would be, you know, there are a lot of people that currently rely on the cache technology, even I think it's too early, and ask for help in, for example, the Romanian community. And there are a lot of people, and we don't have any idea what to tell them. We are not ready yet. We are supposed to test the
We
things.
are not ready yet. We are not ready. You don't want to see other nations. You do not want to see other nations. The list of health is 95% of the citizens of every nation once you open it up. And this is what I tell you, listen to Thursday teaching. I can't tell you anymore.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. It has to be a global effort. It's not a single effort. It cannot be. And we got to realize in teaching so heavily in past 5-6 years, putting the technology out so heavily in past 10-15 years, we all started with one man. And now millions of people across the world are using it. It has become, as I said to the Chinese guy, it has become a homemade medicine for all of us. It's not anymore Chinese medicine, it's not anymore Indian medicine, it's not anymore African medicine. All of us are benefiting by it right across the planet. And in letting people do it and the way we taught it, and in so many ways, thanks to Rick bringing this, first of all, the knowledge seekers up, and then everything else which we were teaching on different channels. It has allowed the technology to be carried by the people, and the people are forcing the government. This is the problem. I met a very powerful security guy around November last year, at a very high level. And he said, Mr. Keshe, I tell you something. I said, I was with the knowledge seekers, with part of, we carry a very harsh, rough security around us for the reasons, He said, I've been in a meeting with President Obama and President Xi of China and Putin, and they discuss you openly. He said, we are security, we are close, we said, I've been in a meeting that you and your technology is openly discussed by the world leaders. And he said, that's how I know so much about you. And we asked more, he said, you're openly discussed because you have reached many people, world leaders. They sit and talk how they're going to handle you. And he said, I've been in a meeting where the 3 presidents have discussed you openly. This is how we are. This is where we are. because we have reached the top, and we reach the common man in the ground, in the house, in the room. He can make something for himself, and the president who's sick, and he does it. We know diplomats who use the technology. I have ambassadors who sit on your paint patches when they travel in the diplomatic suitcase. When they showed it to me, I was laughing my head off. I said, come on, ambassador. He says, your system flies in the diplomatic case with me because I believe in it. It works for me. If I cannot be healthy, the embassy cannot run. So it is important to be. He says it travels in the diplomatic bag. And he got up and he just took it out of the system. There it is. I'm sitting on it. When the ambassador's got a prostate to die, and he's seen the result, he believes in it and he supports it. We reached very far. Now is to put the structure around it. We gave the keys to the government, and we gave the knowledge to the people. And it's very much, it's amazing. I explained this recently to someone. He understood. I don't know if you understand it. I said, you know what I've achieved? I've achieved Christianity in the name of Zoroaster. He said, what do you mean? I said, you know, the Romans, the leaders were all Mithraism, and they believed in this God which wasn't physical anymore. We call it Ahura Mazda. And people wanted to have it, but they couldn't have it. They went and found the Christ, and he goes to heaven and he talks about the God. So they became Christians. And by them become Christians, they forced the government, they found a compromise, they made Christianity the way we know. And so the top man had a God, and the man on the street had a God. They mixed the God, they made the present Christianity out of it. We did the same. We gave the knowledge to the governments, and we told the man on the street. And we now found out the governments are the men on the streets. So now the structure is set. A new path of knowledge, and through it the path of faith, or what we call understanding of the soul of the man, that's established. A new beginning. And strange enough, Thursday is 21st of June, is equinox, is equality, is beginning of summer, time of joyful time. And it's not coincidental. And this is what it is. A lot of people have developed technology in their kitchens for the children. We have pictures from old people to youngsters, 9, 10, 11. They're administering their own ganses because they've seen the result. A 9-year-old, 10-year-old children, they're producing it themselves, and they're making their own patches because doctors cannot have not found the solution. There is no solution. And they go on the internet and they test it, their validity, they report it. And it's amazing. And so that's the old man, he cannot find a solution. And they find patches. I met a senior scientist last Tuesday, and he was with leading scientists of the country. We were on a discussion, and he said, "Do you know something, Mr. Keshe?" I said, "I've seen a picture of you with a hat and you know, these bumper jackets they wear with many pockets." He said, "Yeah, have you seen it? I've sent you that one." I said, "What's this?" He said, "On my hat there is a Gans bags, and in my patches, in my pockets are all Gans patches. I've asked one of your knowledge seekers, I had a problem. I said, if it works, I'll know. And it works. I just sent you the picture for you to see. And he said, but the strange thing is, my father is 80 odd years old. We've been trying to get rid of the pain in his hip. We tried everything, doesn't work. Your patches, in 2 days, he's gone with his pain. He said, I've never seen my father as ease. He said, but there's a problem. It doesn't work on my mom. She's her knees and ankles. And I explained to him why it doesn't work. I said, each patch is different. You have to use, this is, everybody thinks it's this, but you have, oh, he said, now I understand. I'll go and try. This is the beauty of the knowledge. It's in the hand of the common man, and it's forcing the governments to respond. It's a new, what I call, religion. And strange enough, its development this way comes out of the Roman, exactly where the Christianity come, the same process. We gave to the government and we gave to the people, and both brought it up together. Again, an Iranian and Italians repeat of the same thing 2,500 years, 2,000 years later. Any other question?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Or remind our attendees that you can raise your hand and we can allow you to speak.
Can I tell you another joke, but explanation of GANs? We call it gases in nano state, but it's actually G stands for God, AN is for and, S is for science. God and science together. Now you understand it. This way it works perfect.
So maybe it's the God particle then.
Yeah.
Mr. Keshe, I got a question. It's Caroline.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh my God, yes. It starts with a G. Oh my God. I have a very specific question, Mr. Keshe. You remember?
Arman, how many times have we heard that one? Huh? A specific question. Carry on. And that means problem, Arman, huh? Come on, let's listen to it.
You remember the first Oasis system, which we put on our folders and then it started going on our website?
Yeah.
You said something to me because you were explaining
many things to you over 30 years. Which one?
What?
I've said many things to you over 30 years. Which one? And I hope you don't expect you to remember all of them.
Oh, I do. You remember, I have a memory like an elephant. I cannot always place everything by date and time or where I got it, but I know I got it from somewhere. The first, because I'm going through boxes and I'm keep on bumping into these folders, these beautiful Keshe Foundation folders with the first pictures and what was presented on our first website. And I still clearly remember the Oasis system, which shows people, I think Rick or Flint has the picture because I brought it up recently. When you were
one that
explaining
people sitting around the tent in the fire.
Yes, that one. You explained to me that there was one thing you could not add to this, but we are now so many years later, and with all the situations which are going and are occurring worldwide and have been, but we are better informed now because of the knowledge and the networking. You said to me that you couldn't publish it at that given moment, and that was that Oasis system will provide a whole family, or will be providing a whole family, like a dome that they are above and protected against the conditions which are taking place at the time of the events, which at that given moment, wherever they are. And I would love you, please, to make the blueprint.
I thought you did that years ago.
What?
I said, I thought you did that years ago.
What exactly?
You said, I love you. I said, I thought you said that years ago. Carry on, doesn't matter.
I said that from day one. So it hasn't changed, has it? Again, I would love you to create a blueprint. It may be in stages because we have to get all these steps worked out. And I know you said it was coming from one system and would not be bigger the size of a microwave. Maybe fitting in a suitcase. And as we are universal councils, we are supposed to stimulate the opening of the doors with the knowledge in conjunction. What do you think? Would that be a nice idea to start?
This, what we call the Oasis system, it will be one of the, what do you call it, not the first, it will be one of the units will go in mass production.
Thank you very much.
This is something which is in our plan. This is something which has to be as part of it. I mean, it's something that most of the people who commercialize it will lose money on it unless governments pay for it to be made, to be on a standby, and to be under use, which we think will happen. I've looked at this. We are looking at about massive number of units to be made and held for a good use, not for the bad
because
use.
I prefer to have those units stocked than stockpiling coffins, if you understand what I mean.
I've seen them being stockpiled. I know exactly what you mean.
I prefer those to be Oasis systems than the opposite. And we can do it.
You brought a very bad memory.
I'm sorry.
Memory, but it's okay. These Oasis systems will be, once completed, will be one of the main, or at least part of the production for. Because when disasters hit, it's not 1,000 or 10,000, it's 100,000, 200,000 without home, without food. It is very interesting what happened.
How many people can we shelter in one unit?
Quite a lot. Something was very strange today on the Chinese internet in the public chat. As I said to you, they had an earthquake yesterday in province, and 11 people died till this morning report. I don't know what's the further report on it, and hundreds injured. A Chinese guy was in the toilet with his mobile phone when the earthquake hits, and he was reporting the house around him has collapsed. And he was reporting on a mobile phone, I haven't even cleaned myself. How do I get out? Because he was trying to run out of the building, but even the door of the toilet was jammed with the house collapsing. And just the toilet stayed. And how do we get the voices to him? They have communication with him. They know where he is, but they can't get to him. and just to keep alive, he reports on his mobile phone from the toilet. This is part of, and the direction of it has to be decided on the capability of the system, understanding of the system, and making of the system. It can be done to provide a clean water, produce shelter, energy and light, and medicine at the same time. We have the technology. Actually is less than 2 meters away from me, maybe. We are developing it, and the basis of it is here with me, and the other systems just about 5 or 6 meters away from me. Then it can be done. This is not when it's going to be done. Fine-tuning it to the ultimate position. I was in a meeting with the high powerful people, very influential in the government today, and I explained to them that we're going to put production of gold in a massive way to do something. He said, no, we are not interested. We are not interested. I said, what are we interested to do first? Medical application. We don't want any metals. And I understood the priorities have changed. I looked at the knowledge seekers with me in the meeting and I said, man has moved on. And we were discussing it after the meeting, says that I'm not interested in what everybody craves for because they know it has no value, they have enough of it. I tell you something, it will be done. It's on our list of, not a priority, but it's on the list of production because it needs a lot of research completion of it. Part of the research comes from the Chinese space test last year. Part of the research comes from research in Austria. Part comes from what we've done in Belgium, and partially comes from what is getting done in Iran by part of the KF Foundation scientists. The complete oasis will be on the table in maybe a few months' time, by early next year, because every nation needs its part of the Red Cross pack. You just give a box, you drop a box, they pick a box, they open a box, gives them the energy, gives them the food, gives them the light, gives them the shelter, gives them the heat, and that brings mental security. We have all of it. We are testing units in China at the moment. We're testing on it. What I said, it brought back memory. I explain to you why. We are in 2019. In 1987, as part of our work, which we had in England, I walked into a factory where they were producing mass clothing for us. One of my companies in England was responsible for making school shirts. I don't know if you know the uniform in England is a grey, blue and white uniform every school child has to wear, boy or girl. And one of my companies had the contract for the whole of Britain. We were to produce hundreds of thousands of these things. So we were looking for surplus capacity in factories to be able to meet the demand of this production. And I was with my manager. We were walking through a factory that they found they could have a surplus capacity. And I saw a cutting room working heavily, and the guy was saying, I have no room. But I said, you always used to have surplus. We could rely on at least 20, 30,000 a week. And we don't, part of our contract was that we can't produce these things in China. In the Far East, it has to be British. He said, I'm busy with something you don't want to know. I said, what? I said, I know you for long enough. What I'm not supposed to know. He said, come and show you what's on my cutting board. That's in 1986, 87. He was making body bags. He said, I'm getting paid huge amount of money by the British to produce 1 million body bags. I said, what for? He said, I don't know, but it's a military order and you are with the people, you got to ask them. And I asked British intelligence guys, boys, why are we producing 1 million body bags? He said, Mehran, you soon will know, soon will know. Soon I got to know it was planned for Iraq. Soon I got to know what are the body bags for. Iraq, with all this, was an excuse. I already ordered the body bags 4 years ahead. Now you understand the politics. I hope our voices units are not. It will be for time if the disaster comes, natural disasters, not for man-made disasters. I still see the cutting tables with the white bags and black bags. Yeah, this is the OS system. It's got KT cache technology on it.
Do you still remember what you said why you couldn't put the completion of that system? Maybe now you can.
Oh, yes, I know, and I can tell you after 7 years why. This machine, at that time, we were not teaching about the soul of the man. The machine has a soul. Oh, you understand. Now, the reactors you build, if you understand, has a soul. It interacts with you. It gives you what you need. Some of the Keshe Foundation research people are very, very advanced, which a lot of people don't understand the advancement, but they're extremely advanced. And I'll read you one of their communication. That's today's communication. This is observation from one system running here. It says there is a soul who's been causing trouble all these days and is very domineering. He makes all the combination magnetic, powering and brightening, and he's messing up everything. But today he's taken over the reactor and making one of my souls hollow and is causing problem. It says, if there's another system which we are running, it says, if there are two souls in the reactor, what happens when they light up? And the other one stops it from lighting up, because the development of the technology in the system control that we don't release, but now we can release some of it. And this is how advanced the technology is, but we cannot release. People don't understand how we make these systems. And the technology on the system control is very, very advanced without communication. And the reactors which we control, we control through emotion and soul, are now in a very, very advanced stage. And now we see operation, we see the emotion.
Hello, Mr. Keshe, you're breaking up there.
Here, I'm not anywhere. Can you hear me?
No, we're having trouble hearing you.
Have you heard what you heard?
Pardon me? Can't hear you at all now. I think he's dropped out and has to reconnect. It's funny, at this moment we're having a major calamity somewhere on the road outside. I've never heard so many sirens at the same time. You can probably hear them in the background. Okay, well, bear with us for a minute while we reconnect with Mr. Keshe. I better turn my microphone off. I think you can probably hear the sirens going on there.
Yes, we can, but it's not very loud. And I hope it's nothing very dangerous, there.
It's usually somebody slid off the road and one of the local roads here, but I don't know. Could be a fire as well. In any case, all is well. So far, so good. We'll carry on with our transmission here. Just bear with us another minute while we reconnect with Mr. Keshe. hopefully he'll be able to come back and attend here. Been fortunate so far to have a good connection and have a lot of information revealed by Mr. Keshe today. Big information. Anyone have any comments or anything they'd like to say, to fill in during this intermission? Not seeing Mr. Keshe coming back yet.
I would like to say that so far there were pretty big information, and I can hardly wait for Thursday.
Yeah, there's a lot on the medical side in particular, and it seems like, well, on all aspects, it comes right down to it. So it's like Mr. Keshe's way to develop everything all at once, but in designated areas as well. So very interesting. Maybe you'll get more information on Thursday on how to proceed on the medical side.
Yes, indeed, because at the moment we don't know what to tell people. They need our help and we just keep quiet.
Yeah, I have the same issue in maintaining some of the social media sites and that kind of thing. There's always people that write in to the Keshe Foundation Facebook and so on that, you know, I have a such and such disease and this and that, and I've heard that your technology can help, and can you help me, or can you point me to someone that can, that can help me, or who do I talk to, and where do I go, and that kind of thing. And of course, Mr. Keshe has been trying to keep away from the direct interactions on the medical side, and leaving that up to the doctors to participate in. But there is just looking at finding the email. Where is it? For illness-related inquiries are to be sent to health@spaceshipinstitute.org. But of course, it's hard for, and there's, there are doctors that work with the Keshe Foundation, but they're pretty much totally overwhelmed. And this is good news to see that the Chinese are becoming involved, and the whole legitimacy and mass introduction of things on the medical side will make a huge difference in the whole world, not just on the Chinese side. So I think this new facility will make a huge difference that way. But also that I think that the way things get defined, people like Marius should be able to get more, more concrete and solid information so they can move forward and find a way through one of the Keshe, organizations to carry on the work that's done, and the research and all the work on the health side. So hopefully we'll see that on Thursday. Mr. Keshe, are you back now? I see you there, but your microphone is not open.
Yes, I'm back. Sorry about that. I didn't want you to hear. Let me explain to you what does this mean. I don't know if you heard what I was talking about. What is missing in this system is the soul. At that time, I always said to Caroline that the last book I write will be about the soul. But if you understood most of the teaching nowadays, we don't feed the man anymore. We don't warm the man anymore. We don't shelter the man anymore. The new Oasis systems works through the soul of the man. And it's the soul which feeds. The old system of burning or rotating and whatever, or creating gases to drink, is the old way. What is missing is that light in the center. As you look at it, that's the soul of the man. And the rest of the machine you see is the body of the man. The new systems developed, and very much is getting developed by the foundation, is mainly, especially you're talking about space systems, is to feed the soul of the man. And to hold on to the structure of the soul of the man, that it can communicate and it can live. So many of you who work or you will be waiting for, as I said, in the space we don't carry any food, now we can clearly explain it because the knowledge is there for you to understand, is that in the space we feed the soul of the man. They're looking after the shape of the man, the warmth of the man, what it needs to be, how he wants to grow, is left to the soul. So the real Oasis which is getting developed, and I explained to you the research which is going on in the background, is totally directed towards the soul. Because when you put this heating on to be warm, if you feel warm inside, doesn't matter what is the temperature outside. If you are fed that all the energies of all the cell can be replenished all the time as they need, you don't need to eat because you're already full. If you understand the interaction of your soul with the system dictates the size of the shelter, because then you're covered. Does not matter if you're in a space or you are in an earthquake with no roof on your head. The combination of the souls, or the combination of interaction of the souls, will create that condition of the comfort zone, what we call collective shelter. We have tested this very recently in China. And what we see up to now, we'll have more results by September, hopefully, that confirms it. So when it's 2 of you or 10 of you and one system, it feeds all of you, but amongst you creates a shelter to cover all of you, doesn't cover you individually. So now we can speak about the true Oasis system. And this is one of our priorities. You won't see a massive structure, you see a structure which in so many ways gives you what you need on a physical dimension, but at the same time, you can do a lot of other things with it. In so many ways, if you understand it, I made a system today that the soul is so tiny, I can hold it in my hand, that the tiny soul can control a massive system. It's sitting on my desk. I've made about 12 of them because we're doing a test. And So if you look at the new Oasis system, this is for a, but if you look at the true Oasis systems that is getting developed, I read you an article and communication from the research team of the Keshe Foundation that we can communicate. We can see them laughing. We can see them actually their emotion. And it's very interesting what is developing and what is coming up. So the true Oasis system is literally that light in the center. Any other question?
We had one question from Dean. How far will the Oasis reach? But I think you kind of answered that when you said that it's not just for one person, but for a group. But is there anything else you'd like to say to answer that question?
Not really. We are testing. We are finding the limitation of the system. We are the amazing thing is when you look at these systems with the soul, they're all bright inside. They all have a light. The center light we see. We have the videos of it as it gets tested. When the soul is established, the light comes on inside the ball, and it's centralized. It's not the light, the what we saw with plasma lights. It's a beautiful, beautiful goldish color. If I don't get caught up, I try to show you a picture of it. It's exactly as we say. It's a pure soul. It's gold in color, and it is amazing how the development of the soul creates such a color. I'm just going to get you the picture. Just you're gonna wait. I might lose you while I'm doing it. You can hear, I think, the system running and creating a soul. Now we do a non-dynamic one. And it's a sunshine gold. I cannot get it out. I cannot get it out. But you see the soul. It's got this beautiful color, and it communicates. I cannot transfer the video. If he carries a dimension of the soul of the man or interaction with it, does not matter where it is, it will shine. It's the same as you have the sun. And the Earth still shines with the daylight. The Moon does, the Saturn does, and Jupiter doesn't matter the distance. If you're facing it, you're enlightened. Or you can reach it, or it can reach you. But the plasma reaches everywhere in the universe. There's no limitation.
Dean asks the question, how do you know if you have this light?
We see it. We see it. Our people even communicate with it. They can slow it down. They can fasten it. It's amazing. It's a lot of research we don't disclose. That's why I was telling at the beginning, where I sit, I see a lot of things. And we are controlling this technology, this development in so many beautiful ways.
So in a way, all of us would have this light, and some have it burning more brightly than others, or some have it covered up more than others. What makes the difference between?
Put it this way, you know, when you eat different food, your aura changes. Now, if you receive the pure energy from the environment that you're in, you light up, and you will see it. If you remember, as part of the teaching recently, I explained how the blood circulation controls the soul. Now, this light, this field becomes that blood circulation that takes over the blood. And the interaction of the two creates its own light. And it gets to the point that you have nothing to give. The soul becomes the dimension of the physicality.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe.
It's nearly 1 o'clock for me.
Yes,
Anyway.
we're about 3 hours into our broadcast here.
Thank you very much. I just came. Please listen to Thursday's teaching, and you will understand more. And in so many ways, we'll explain what we have done and where the foundation work is going. I think it'll be a joy to a lot of you and a lot of expectation. We should not be there. It's what we have contributed towards as part of the development. And many who have come and done that, gone or that there and do other things with it. It will reach every man on this planet and every animal. And what is being set up in the next few weeks and months and years will change the course of us, all of us, in one way or another. We just gotta wait till we have to put the final touches on it today, hopefully, and then we'll see where we go. Thank you very much for today, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe, and very big news today. Congratulations, and we'll learn more about
You
that.
don't know,
Thank you, Mr. Keshe, for joining us for this.
you do not know what you're still gonna get. Wait till Thursday.
Yeah, I think we're just getting the tip of the iceberg so far, as they say.
Thursday is tomorrow, yes?
Depends where you are, Jalal. It's 2 days from where I am.
Yeah,
but
it is tomorrow. Yeah, for me,
I said
it's
tomorrow.
for you, it's still got 2 days to go. Thank you very much. Bye.
Okay, bye for now. Well, what do you think, Carolina? Should we wrap things up for this show, or do you want to carry on for a little bit?
It put a big smile on our faces.
Sorry, I couldn't hear either one of you. We should wrap things up, you say?
It's my little boy.
Yes.
Yes.
Between you, Jalal, and the
It's a
dog,
lot
I
to
didn't
digest.
understand any of the languages.
You didn't understand the dog?
Well, I understood there was a lot of barking, but I didn't understand what the message was, I guess. No, go ahead. So you're saying we should wrap things up, I think.
Yes, I think it's a lot to digest for a lot. And before we go any further on, I think we better wait till Thursday and then kickstart the work.
Yes, yes.
As
Otherwise,
we see everyone tomorrow morning who can make it for your session, and then my private session tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock we start, and you start at 7 o'clock in the morning.
yes, Central European time, which is 10 o'clock at night, my time. So tonight.
Maybe tomorrow we will have some cookies.
You can be the baker.
I will do it for you, no problem.
I always bring the coffee and the tea. For a change, you can bring the cookies. Thank you, beautiful team. And it was a, yes. Yes.
I think that was Jalal still on the microphone.
I didn't say nothing.
Okay, then we'll
we heard you.
I said I'm there in my mind. Maybe you hear that. Escape.
Okay, you'll need to mute your mind temporarily while we end the meeting here. Otherwise, we could go on all day. Thank you, Jalal. So you were saying...
No, there will be a new word. Thank us.
Ah, yes. We're done with we, and now the new one is us. The new one is us.
The bigger one now.
The new one. There you go. Okay, Caroline, do you want me to wrap it up here?
I think that will be wise. It was a long session to be very attentive and to be present. I thank you, team. I thank you, knowledge seekers. We will find out Thursday morning for sure what's going on. And I cannot spell the beans, as we say.
Okay, then we'll have one of those endings like in the old Batman and Robin shows where you have a cliffhanger, and we'll have to wait till the next part of this series in order to hear all the details and see how it ends, or how it begins, I should say. Anyway, stay tuned for the Knowledge Seekers Workshop coming up on Thursday, June 20th, 2019, at 9 a.m. Central European Time at the usual locations that are advertised. And this has been the 81st One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace for Tuesday, June 18th, 2019. And I think this is a milestone show that will introduce the new world of the Keshe Foundation. So we welcome the changes that will be occurring. Okay, bye everyone for now, and see you next time around.
Hello. We are the Keshe Foundation. Our mission is to bring peace on earth and join humanity with the universal community. We wish and work to bring man as equal to all beings in the universe. By teaching plasma science and technology equally to everyone, no one is left out and no one is abused due to lack of knowledge. By donating to us, you can help achieve this goal. keshefoundation.org/donate.
Plasma products found at keshefoundation.org/store. Soothing, reusable plasma eye and migraine mask. Eliminate eye fatigue and relieve stress in eye area. European certified medical device. Massaging plasma insoles. Bring comfort back to your feet and energize your legs. European CE certified medical device. Antiseptic plasma liquid hand soap. Promotes well-being and relaxation with protective plasma formula. CE certified. One Soul Plasma T-shirt. GAN's formula within the symbols and stripes brings mind, soul, and body into balance. European certified. Pain Relief Pen. Emits a concentrated plasma field at point of pain, efficient up to 3 centimeters below the skin. CE certified. The Magrav's Energizer and Alkalizer raises pH and energizes water through magnetic and gravitational fields. CE certified medical device. Pain Relief Pad, a result of years of research in nanoplasma technology with magnetic and gravitational fields. CE certified medical device. Visit the online store at keshefoundation.org/store or find a distributor near you. Tax and shipping not included.